All right, so I'm going to show you how to set up a performance environment in Logic that'll do some patch changing and some keyboard splits, and we'll let you do some patch changing from your MIDI controller, and it'll get you acquainted with a few different techniques in the environment that'll let you kind of expand your knowledge just by exploring after you know a couple of the things that aren't so obvious of just how to click around in the environment. So right now I have set up two different instruments, an organ and a ES2 synthesizer. So you can hear that in the background, and then my organ. So you could just set up all your instruments here, and while you're playing a show, hit your down key, your down arrow on your laptop or computer, and switch through them. But we're going to try and make a little more elegant of a solution. So what we're going to do is, I'll just close this down so I can show you how to get here. We go to Window, Environment, or hit Apple 8, and that came up all small, nice. And then I'm going to say Create Layer. I'm going to name it, call it Performance. There we go, I can spell. And I'm going to say New Instrument, and this is going to create an instrument that kind of represents my physical instrument that I have in front of me, my keyboard or my foot pedal. So I'm going to name that after my keyboard, MK461. Okay, and so you can see that it has channel 1 on there. So this is going to pick up other instruments that are transmitting on channel 1, like my foot controller right here is sending on channel 1, and that's going to pick it up. And the way we see what's coming into that instrument is we set up a monitor. So we go to New Monitor, and then Plug. That's a plug output into the monitor here. And then you say Remove when you're setting up new stuff like this. Okay, so let's play our keyboard. Nothing's happening in there. Oops, back to performance. I'm still playing just the regular instrument in the arrange. So what we need to do, and I'll just get rid of. Well, I'll do this real quick. Hold down Control, and say this is probably how yours is. You have an audio track or something else here. You're going to hold down Control and click this track, and you can reassign the track object to something in our performance layer, which is called MK461. You could also go back to your layer and drag this on top of there. Okay, so now when we play this, I'll click on here, make sure we're playing it, we see notes on the keyboard, and we see controllers coming in from the footboard. Okay, so what we want to do is pipe this MIDI data into these instruments. So to simply do that, you could just hit Alt and then go to Mixer, Software Instrument, and hook it up to either of those instruments. But that really doesn't do anything past what you could do by just clicking in here. So we want to make it so we keep this selected, and we're able to send it off to these instruments here. So I'm going to say New, Fader, Specials, Cable Switcher, and then we plug our monitor into the cable switcher, and then we're going to hold down Alt, click on this output of the cable switcher, and we get our little menu here, and we're going to go to the Mixer, Software Instrument, Organ, and then we're going to see another output came up here. So we're going to take that, Mixer, Software Instrument, ES2. Now when we play, we get Organ, and we get the ES2. So I'm just clicking right there to change this, and we want to set it up so it changes from input from our MIDI keyboard. And so I have a bank of program change buttons, which you can see I press now, and I get program change symbol on channel 1, and I'm sending 1, and I'm sending 2, and I'm sending 3 by clicking that. So if we click and select our cable switcher, we can see the cable switcher inspector over here, and we're using the auto style, which makes it how it looks right now. We're going to change it to something else and look at that later. But what we're interested in right now is control, this input type, and we're going to change it from control to program. And then when we press keys over here on my MIDI keyboard, my program change keys, that should snap to 1, or I press 0 and it should go back to 0. So now you don't have to touch your computer for the number of buttons that you have on your keyboard, because there's probably a way to set this up to have like separate banks, but I won't get into that right now. I won't even try to do that. I could probably figure it out. Maybe I'll do another video on that. But so this will get me like 10 different patches, which is a pretty good amount. Or you can also set it up where it just responds to a note. So I'm going to do that real quick too and show you. So my foot controller, I have it set up. I'm pressing that, and it's sending a controller CC channel 1. It's sending on 48. It's sending a value of 127. So what I do is I come over to the input, I change that to control, and then I change this to 48, and then the cable switcher is going to start responding when I press. Now I keep pressing and nothing's happening here. What's going on? That's not going to work out. So what you have to do is you have to change this range from 0 to 2, and it'll cycle through there. So that's pretty cool. So you could just have your laptop in sight and see where you're at. Although if there was a way to make this go backwards and forwards, that would be cool. So if somebody knows, you can maybe tell me how to do that. Because say you have 20 patches and you pressed one too many and you get down to 3 and you want to be on 2, then you have to cycle all the way back up to all the way through all 20 of them. But I mean, this is okay too for me, as long as I don't have too many patches. Another thing is that you can set up multiple cable switches to respond to the same inputs. So I could have multiple instruments coming in and being routed to different, I'm meaning multiple hardware instruments coming in, like different keyboards or foot controllers that possibly multiple people are playing live and are going to different software instruments. And by pressing one button, you can change everybody's patches, which is pretty cool. So people don't have to worry about changing instruments during a live show. You can just, bam, change everybody's crazy splits and all the different things that they have set up. So let's look at creating a split right now. So I'm going to Alt-click. How do I get rid of these? Yeah. I can never remember how to get rid of these things. No output, maybe? There we go. Okay. So I'm going to create a handy object called a transformer, which can do many things. But right now it's going to do a split for us. And this is a good thing to look at the manual about a good object. So if you go to Help and Logic, User Manual, and then look up the Environment section and go to the look for transformers, and this will tell you all about how this thing works. But we are going to select a certain mode that let's see, which one are we going to do? We're going to do condition splitter true to the top cable. So whatever, we're going to set up a condition that says grab everything that's higher than a middle C and everything that matches that is going to be sent to the top cable. Everything else is going to be sent to the bottom cable. I think that's what we're going to do. So I didn't practice doing this part, which is probably bad. So let's see. We'll say, let's see what our node is here. C3 there. So we're going to say status all. I'm going to say, actually that's channel. We're going to leave channel on all. I'm going to say, let me just set up one other thing real quick. I'm going to do two new monitors. Let's see what's going on here. And I'm going to route this here, so this will show me what's matching in my condition that I have going on right now. So right now, everything down low to up high is going through the top cable. So and that's because everything greater than 0, I believe. So let's change that to let's see, this might work here or no. See, the hard thing about this is that your keyboard says like C3, but then this data byte 1 is like it doesn't correspond to that in any way. So you kind of have to figure out where. I'm sure you could do some math and figure this out, but let's see. Okay, so we can see that I've moved this up to 59, and now I'm splitting at A2 and B2. So you can see I hit A2 and it goes to the bottom, then I hit B2 and it goes to the top. So I'm going to take that up to C3 actually, so I'm going to push this up. Okay, so B2 is going to the bottom, C3 is going to the top. Sweet. So our split's all set up, and then I'm going to take this and alt-click again and send it to organ, and send this to synth. So now making some pretty horrible noises, but it's working. So that's basically it there. There's a whole bunch of other objects you could try playing with. Everybody's probably saying, "Oh, Arpeggiator, awesome!" So let's try plugging that in real quick. Whoops. I don't know what that did there. And then take that to the mixer, instrument, organ, and we play. I know nothing's really happening. You have to get your sequencer going here, and then so there's all kinds of stuff in here like that. Delay lines that'll create like MIDI delays, and you can get big crazy sounds going out of this. And you can also just, instead of doing splits, you could just do doubles. Oh, another thing, when you're doing a split, I'll just show you this real quick because it's kind of handy. You may want to shift the octave of something. So let me just set this back up properly. So I'm going to get another transformer. So like maybe you have the organ on your right hand and you want some strings on your left hand, but you don't want them to be a cello, you want it to be a violin, and your violin doesn't play in that range. So you want to pitch shift your, or transpose your left hand up like an octave or two. So you throw in this transformer and you name it transpose, and then you go in here and try and figure this thing out. So we're going to say apply operation and let non-matching events pass through. I think that's what we want to do. And we're going to get everything. So let's just look at this real quick. So this is going to say just catch notes, or just catch controls or programs and apply changes to them. But we want to do all, or actually we could just do notes. Let's just do notes, because we really only want to modify the notes. Although you have to be careful. I found that you can start losing some controllers that you may want to end up when you're doing these splits. Like if you want your mod wheel to come through and end up, you know, hitting both your instruments, you may end up filtering them out with these splits somehow. So you have to be careful of that. And if you're not getting certain controllers through, you need to modify this, or you need to just put another transformer somewhere in here before you filter it out, and just grab all the controllers and then plug those directly into your instruments over here, so they get those CCs directly, and you don't have to worry about changing your transformations. So again, we're back here. We're looking. We're gonna grab all the notes on all the channels, and we are going to get all the pitches. But I think what we want to do is we want to add 12 to the pitch. Okay, so that should give us. So when I play this low synth that was low before, it should be an octave higher. Seems like it is, and let's just change this to 24. Okay, and you can do the same thing with subtract, and you can do all kinds of other like random between two different ranges. What's the heck? Okay, that's upper range. So it's not working for me. I haven't ever used this one, so I'm sure I probably have it. I can only go up. Okay, anyway, I don't know how that works, so I should stop messing with it. But we'll just go back to add 12. Okay, so yeah, that's basically it. I think that's about it that I can tell you. Hopefully you learned a few things, and this will get you going.